Unity is dead. Their CEO is the worst CEO in the history of CEOs.
Hey, wait, you can't milk that subject for views anymore. You're like more than a month and a half late. Just make another devlog or something.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the 11th devlog for Blades of Deceron, a medieval fantasy fighting game, which is pretty fun to play right now, but there are still quite a few things that are bothering me. So in this video I'll try to fix some of them, and hopefully by the end I'll be able to release a beta version. First of all, I'm not completely satisfied with the character controller because I think it's missing some features, namely dodging, jumping, and blocking continuously instead of having to perfectly time blocks to when enemies attack. The latter is a pretty simple fix since I've already made a system for character actions, so I can just set the block to hold until the player releases the button, or releases the swipe in the case of mobile. But I do still want to incentivize timing your blocks properly since that requires more skill. So I made the shields take less damage if a block has just been initiated, and only then, with a perfectly timed block, will the attacker actually get stunned. Also, you can switch stance while blocking, which is pretty useful, but if you just hold down the block, it drains your stamina. Now, in the middle of making this video, I had to quickly shift focus to updating my old games on Android to avoid them being removed from Google Play. I spent most of the time on Gladihoppers since that's my most popular game, but in total I lost almost 3 weeks since there were a lot of outdated plugins that needed to be re-implemented. So after having had some time away, I realized that I can combine the dodge and jump features into one. If you swipe up, you'll lunge forward, and if you swipe down, you'll dodge backwards. I think it's a pretty good compromise, and it feels nice as well. But what doesn't feel nice is to always have to restart the battle and watch the intro over and over again when I just want to playtest the character controller for a while. So I made it so that the intro is skippable and only shows up when you're starting a new fight. Then once the fight is over, you can continue playing until you manually exit to the menu. Going back to the character controller, there are a few more actions that I can't fit into a control scheme using only swipes, so I want to create some kind of a radial menu that opens when you press a button on screen. Then by swiping in the direction of a menu item, you'll perform its corresponding action. I'm making a canvas that is responsible for handling all the input that has to do with the character controller. So now you can sheath, throw, and drop your weapons from this radial menu. While it's being used, time slows down as well, so the player can contemplate their next move. The only problem is that there's no UI that enables you to pick up your weapons again, so I'll connect the interaction system that I already created a while back to the same input canvas that I made just now. I think the character controller is at a good point. I don't want to make it too complex because part of why Gladihoppers became so popular, I believe, was thanks to its simple controls. Speaking of Gladihoppers, the 5-year anniversary is coming up next month, and I've created some merchandise, mostly for myself and for my own ego, but if you feel like supporting me and or the channel, then feel free to check it out over at merch.dreamonstudios.com. Now back to the devlog. One thing that I've dreaded doing for a long time, but that is absolutely needed for the beta version, is creating all of the different weapon animations. I've only made them for one- and two-handed swords, which leaves animations undone for unarmed, one- and two-handed axes and maces, dual wielding, spears, with and without shield, and pole arms. Some of these will share animations, but nevertheless, this is going to take a while. Alright, so that's more or less done. I decided to cut dual wielding, unarmed fighting, and throwing missile and melee weapons for now and finish those animations in the future because it was just taking too long. But for the rest of the weapons, I spent some extra time polishing them up, so I don't think I have to come back and do that later. Still, let me know if there's anything in particular that you think needs to be improved. Everything is working pretty well now, but I still think there's something missing. While playtesting, I feel like it mostly comes down to the enemy AI, or rather the lack thereof, because it's literally just a few lines of code. The thing is though that I don't have that much time left before I have to release the beta, if I am to stick to the roadmap that I posted on Discord a while back. So what I'll do is I'll copy paste the AI script over from Gladihoppers and somehow make it work in this game. With a few tweaks, the enemy AI is working decently, but I still want to remake it in the future since it doesn't account for the character controller's new features that weren't in Gladihoppers. For the time being though, this will have to do. So aside from what I've shown in this devlog, there are so many small things that I've done, like for example making it so that each hairstyle has a slim version that is used when wearing headgear that covers the hair. It's not a huge change, but the fact that characters no longer go insta-bald when equipping a helmet and other similar things are details that improve the game while also exponentially adding to the development time. Another such thing that I think is important to add before releasing the beta is having better audio feedback and of course better sound effects in general. But one thing that particularly annoys me is seeing a weapon hit the wooden shaft of another weapon and still producing a metal clanking sound. So I made it so that the weapons contain an array of weapon parts, where I can specify which material each part is made out of, as well as to give them damage multipliers. This way I can make long weapons less overpowered by requiring you to hit with a sweet spot in order for it to do a good amount of damage. Now, together with some new sound effects that I've made using Soundly, which is the sound effect platform that I use, and music by Redforge, this is what it all looks like. Keep in mind though that this is an early version and it's far from finished. There's still so many things to improve and add to just about every aspect of the game, but I'm very eager to hear what you think about the progress so far. I've been rushing to get this beta version out, and now all that's left is to create a game icon and upload it to Google Play. If you want to beta test the game, you can get instructions on how to do so by heading over to dreamonstudios.com/beta and signing up to the newsletter, because I live in the year of 2005 where newsletters are still relevant. The game is only available on Android right now because I just want to focus on improving the combat for a while, and Google Play is the platform where it's easiest for me to make quick updates to. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.